to take a look at Roger Johnson's East course with Ron Bauer and Jinx Jordan. Ron's driving a rear drive prepared car, Jinx is in a front drive street modified car. So we're going to get an opportunity to have two unique perspectives from these instructors as they look at the course, how they're going to attack it in their cars.
So at the start of the East course here, I think what we've got is we've got a big section that you can take off from the line, and your acceleration isn't really going to be a huge benefit to you necessarily, because we're going to kind of tighten it up at the end to go into the sweeper section at the start. I think there's maybe a couple of different ways to take this start, and my goal is going to be to get over to the left side of the start gate and help myself really kind of tuck it in, kind of going back to our phase 2 idea of looking at the pointer on the corner, going out to the outside wall, keeping in mind that that is actually a slanted wall, and then bringing it back in tight towards the end of that sweeper. Now, Jinx, I think you have a slightly different outlook on what to do here.
My approach is a little different. As opposed to getting all the way out to that outside wall like Ron advocates, what I'm thinking is maybe come in, maybe a car width in from that. Our goal is the same, to get to the pointer cone at the end of the sweeper, same deal, using our phase 2 lessons, but still getting in to shorten the distance up some on here, and I think we can still achieve the same goal.
Okay, so again here, cone 146, the exit of this start sweeper, we really want to be behind this, and as you can see here, this becomes a nice straightaway. So we want to make absolute sure that whatever we do at the beginning of the course, we get behind cone 146 here to be able to take advantage of this straightaway. As we come up to the scrambler here, what we're really looking for is the fact that we have a visual impairment going on with the course. Roger does a great job of giving us visual elements that confuse us. And what he's done here is he's taken the first cone of the slalom and put a pointer on it. However, what reality is that the first cone of the slalom is actually the gate before that. So what I'm going to want to do, Jinx, is I'm going to want to take a look at that pointer cone and then move my visual back so that I'm looking at that and the cone of the gate before it.
Exactly. Basically, you're looking for slots. One's initialized with a pointer, and the other one is not. As you're approaching it, you're going to try and find the slot between the first one is not, which is really a gate, but it's really the beginning of the slalom, and get to the back of that first cone. All right, here we are at the middle of the scrambler. Assuming we've gotten to the back side of those early cones, it's an area where we can get back on the throttle a lot quicker. But looking ahead, you'll be able to see that there's a pointer at the end defining the end of the slalom, but it's really not the end. As you're continuing on, you can see there's just a little jog, but it's a great opportunity to get on the throttle and carry a lot of speed through that section.
All right, so as we come out of the scramble slalom and into the tilt-a-whirl, we have an interesting braking zone there, and there's a couple of ways of taking that. Personally, I'm going to just come into that as straight as I can, which is going to put me on a tight line entering, but what I want to really do is focus on getting the car slowed down there, entering the tilt-a-whirl, getting the car set, and then figuring out how much speed I can carry around the tilt-a-whirl.
Well, I agree with Ron at the corner entry. It makes a lot of sense to give up going in instead of trying to flare out and get a better line into the corner. There's plenty of time at the exit of the corner to get that achieved. As you're sitting here, go back to your phase 1 exercise of looking to the end of the corner and connecting that section.
Right, so as we come out of the turn of the tilt-a-whirl and into the offsets, the key thing here is really making sure that we get in behind cone number 248.
And while this is a section that looks on the map to be pretty open, when you actually get here, you'll find that it's a little bit tighter and you're going to have to adjust your speed accordingly.
All right, so as we come into Fast Eddie's Fun Center, I'm really going to be focusing on the fact that I think this is going to be able to be done a little bit faster than you really think it can be. So my approach is going to be, as I come up to cone 307 at the entrance to this, I'm going to want to do a little lift, put some weight on the nose to really help me kind of tighten up the entrance. I'm thinking as I come towards the end of that, I'm probably going to want to let the car come out a little bit to really focus on kind of late siding that exit cone of Eddie's Fun Center.
Out there, while the entry, and Ron and I agree, I'm thinking about cone 317 out there and really thinking about a short distance approach to this corner. If you come in and kind of roll off of the gate before and then come in tight on 317, we're going to end up at the same place at the beginning of the next section. But we're also going to have a shorter distance and be able to shorten our time in that corner.
Okay, as we enter the crazy wave, this thing is crazy. I mean, Roger, again, visual cue man, he is not. He likes to give you so much confusion you don't know what to do. And I gotta say, I've never done this before on a course, but in this case, as we enter this, I'm gonna be looking at all the laydown cones, and by laydown cones, I mean the rows of laydown cones, because I don't think you can see this wave any other way as you enter it, other than looking at those laydown cones.
Well, I completely agree that as a visual, as you're going into this section, that it's really hard to see anything but a sea of cones. And so you got to find something that'll work for you. And as Ron has said, the row of laydowns is the points that are going to help you find the important cones on this section.
All right, so the last couple of slalloms of this crazy wave, the second to last one, we really want to focus on the middle cone of this. And as you can see from this, if you really kind of treat the middle cone of that wave as the cone that you're going behind, that will allow you to be set up perfectly coming out of this. As we come out of the crazy wave into the Kamikaze, I have a feeling that we're not going to be able to go fast enough to need to really worry about giving anything up entering the Kamikaze, so I really am going to be trying to focus on coming up to 411, and I hate to say this, but give the car a quick flick to the right and hopefully get a good set on the car to be able to just carry as much speed as I can through the Kamikaze.
This is one corner where Ron and I agree completely. This is a corner you're going to enter in, try and bring as much speed as you can, carry it all the way through, just basically a 90 that's really, really fast.
Okay, so as we come out of the Kamikaze going into the water slide, just keep in mind if we do end up with rain this week that there is a potential dip at about cone 418 that may be really wet. Just be aware of that. But as we come into the water slide, I think the key thing here is that the Kamikaze has its name because it's just going to be darn fast. And that water slide element seems to me to be a little bit on the tighter side, so we're probably going to need to give up a little bit just to make sure that we're setting ourselves up in behind that last cone.
In that section, as Ron mentioned, that dip where there may be water collecting, it will also be the last place to dry should it be a drying condition when you're driving.
Okay, as we come into the Cliffhanger, I'm telling you, this is the make or break part of the whole course. This is where you win or lose your national championship. Getting behind cone 527, that is the absolute key to this turn. Whether you enter on the far left, you enter tight, that's kind of up to you and the line that's been dictated by other people, but getting in behind cone 527 is an absolute must.
We totally agree on this corner. The way you approach it, like Ron said, is also just, it doesn't matter if you come in tight, come in wide, you've got to be in and get behind that cone. However you achieve it is going to be the make or break part of that corner.
All right, as we come up to the Wipeout here, the key thing here really is going to be focusing on getting in behind that first slalom cone. I think as we come up into this, there's 3 laydown cones at the outside edge, and as I come out of the previous element, I'm going to be focusing on those to try to get the car out there to help set that up.
Really important to get to the backside of this 3-cone, of the first cone of the 3-cone slalom, and it'll make it an acceleration area as opposed to being a place when you're fighting to get the car back under control.
Okay, so the end of Wipeout has a pretty tight right-hand turn compared to the speed I think we're going to be able to take through this 3-cone slalom. So I'm really going to focus on coming up to that second cone of that slalom, which is 603, 604 area, giving a little lift, put some weight on the nose of the car to help me initiate that right-hand turn. Okay, the Ring of Fire is our final element before the finish lights, and as we come in there, there's really 3 important cones, I think. 616, 622, and 628 are the individual cones in between groups of cones. And those are really going to dictate our line. I kind of think that what we're going to do is come in there, 616 is going to kind of throw us out, and then as we come up to 622, which is that middle cone, I'm looking at more of kind of a, not necessarily a point and shoot, but I'm going to give up a little bit in the middle there because I think that exit is going to be the most important thing. Getting behind 628 and really taking advantage of that acceleration zone out to the exit where that wall is at is going to be the key to our finish.
I think what we're going to find here, like Ron was saying, that it's important to be able to get to the end and do that point and shoot, But also be thinking short distance as you're rolling on through there. That's a key part of it.
All right, so again, 628 here is the cone that we really need to focus on getting on and behind. And as you can see, the exit wall there is going to be our other point that we're going to need to be aware of. And we need to make sure that we're taking advantage of every moment of acceleration we have there to get down and just as close as we can be to that finished cone on the right-hand wall.
There's a lot going on Roger Johnson's East course, so let's take a minute and look back at the key cones to make sure you have a game plan for your national championship runs. First cone that we really want to focus on is 114, the limiting cone at the start. If we can get in behind that, out towards the wall, it'll give us a better entry into chute-to-chutes. 146 is our visual key as we're looking ahead through that corner, looking down to 214. 214 is the cone that leads the scrambler. It does not have a pointer on it, though. 215 is the one with the pointer. If we can get behind 214, the slalom opens up as we go and we'll be able to build speed through that slalom. We're then into the braking zone of the tilt-a-whirl, where we want to make sure we have a good, nice, clean, straight line brake, get our eyes across to 246 and 248. Getting behind 248 will let us have a little bit of space to get in behind 249 and 300 and set us up for Fast Eddie's Fun Center. A nice tight line into Fast Eddie's Fun Center with a little bit of egg shaping midway through. Let the car come out and around 317 and accelerating into the Crazy Wave. In the Crazy Wave, as Ron said, we're going to use the pointers in those walls to define our entry points, keeping our eyes up, looking through the entire element, using those lay-down walls to be able to pick up the differences between those walls. It's a quick flick of the wheel to the right to enter the Kamikaze, and then powering all the way to the water slide. We want to make sure that we use the space between 429 if we need it, and that we're really hammering through the 500 down to the 505. Then we enter the Cliffhanger. This is the most crucial corner on the course according to both Ron and Jinx. We want to make sure that we're backsiding cone 527 because that will allow us to accelerate through the second half of the Cliffhanger down to 602 through the Wipeout. The exit of Wipeout, we've got the right-hander that we need to be careful of, and then into the Ring of Fire, where our focuses are 616, which emphasizes the entry, 622, which limits the middle, and 628, where we want to make sure we're all the way on throttle through the finish for a strong one.